Every few years, tens of millions converge on the sandy banks of a single river. It is the largest gathering of humanity on the planet. Hindu theology identifies these headwaters as a celestial liquid that plummeted through the vault of heaven to sustain the earth. This event, the Avatarana, transformed the river into Ganga Mata, a living mother goddess. Because the river is divine, its moving waters are believed to absorb and carry away impurities. A dip in the Ganges is meant to wipe away the sins of a lifetime, making it the ultimate spiritual purifier. This belief dictates daily life. Every morning, millions wade in to bathe, wash their clothes, and drink directly from the river, taking the divine physically into their bodies. For the 400 million people in its massive basin, the Ganges is the literal embodiment of absolute purity. But a chemical analysis of these same waves reveals a toxic reality. Just steps from where pilgrims bathe, pipes dump hundreds of millions of liters of untreated sewage and industrial runoff into the river every single day. Safe bathing water should contain no more than 500 fecal coliform bacteria per 100 milliliters. Downstream of Varanasi, it spikes to 100 million. This immense bacterial load causes an estimated 66% of locals using the water to suffer from waterborne diseases every year. The biological strain is compounded by the heavy organic load placed on the riverbanks. Thousands of cremations happen daily along the water's edge. Ashes and remains are released into a current already choked with heavy metals and plastics. How can hundreds of millions of people worship a waterway as the ultimate cleanser of sins while living alongside one of the most biologically toxic rivers on Earth? The problem doesn't start at the source. High in the Himalayas, the Ganges begins as pristine meltwater from the Gangotri Glacier, completely removed from human interference. But as the water descends into the vast Gangetic plain, its role shifts. It transforms from a free-flowing natural force into an agricultural workhorse, where huge volumes of water are diverted to irrigate thirsty crops like rice and sugarcane. This massive extraction isn't a recent development. In the 1850s, the British East India Company built an extensive network of canals spanning over 500 miles, actively engineering the river to control regional water supplies. Today, massive structures like the Farakka Barrage continue to extract and redirect the water. By artificially controlling the current, these barriers severely reduce the river's natural velocity. Before the river even reaches the densest population centers, human engineering has already starved it of the sheer water volume and speed it needs to flush out pollutants. That reduced flow hits a critical ticking point when the river reaches rapidly expanding megacities like Kanpur and Varanasi. These industrial hubs pump billions of liters of raw sewage, heavy metals, and highly toxic runoff from local tanning industries directly into the sluggish water. The native biodiversity simply can't survive the chemical load. The Ganges river dolphin, a highly specialized freshwater mammal, has seen its population plummet, entirely disappearing from several of the main tributaries. The river is caught in a deadly biological feedback loop. It is being systematically drained of its clean water upstream, while simultaneously being poisoned by the very populations that depend on it downstream. The Indian government recognized the impending collapse decades ago. In 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi launched the Ganga Action Plan, an incredibly well-funded political initiative to build sewage treatment plants and intercept the effluent before it hit the water. The plan collapsed. Poor technical planning meant treatment plants frequently shut down during power outages, while rampant corruption siphoned off funding. But beyond the bureaucratic failures lay a much deeper cultural roadblock. Millions of worshippers, and the traditional Brahmin priests who guide them, largely refuse to accept the premise that the river was actually polluted. It is a strict theological paradox. If you truly believe the Ganges is the supreme, infallible, divine purifier, then acknowledging its physical impurity is a contradiction of faith. The water cannot be dirty, because the goddess cannot be tainted. The very belief system that makes the river sacred is the exact psychological barrier preventing its physical recovery. Now, the crisis is accelerating. Driven by climate change and the rapid melting of the Himalayan glaciers, the source water is vanishing, leaving large stretches of the riverbed completely dried up in the sun. In a desperate attempt to force environmental protection, modern Indian courts have even declared the river a legal person, granting it the same human rights as the citizens who rely on it. The fate of the Ganges serves as a warning for the friction inside modern India, the collision between a booming industrial economy and the natural systems required to sustain it. If humanity cannot find a way to reconcile ancient spiritual reverence with grim ecological